All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me once again. My name is Jim, and it's time to ramble a little bit. This is my Week in the Waistband category video, which is basically a what it's like to live with this particular gun every single day without changing it out. What are the inconveniences? What are the conveniences? What are the things you're going to love? What are the things that you might not love so much? Once you've got it, the honeymoon period is over, you've shot it, you've broken it in. Now it's time to carry the damn thing. And is it carryable? I know that's not a real word, but for today, let's pretend like it is. And today we're going to be discussing the Daniel Defense H9. Now, I've made my videos about the H9, both the original first round videos that I like to always do, which is the kind of tabletop review. I call it desk pop. And then the shots fired video where I take it out on the range and shoot it and talk about its performance and all that kind of goodness. Now, today we're going to talk about what it's like to live with it. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when you think about living with your new handgun is how you're going to carry it, what holster you're going to use. And that's where it gets its first knock. And a lot of times we don't want to blame the gun manufacturer. All we say is, well, it's a brand new model, it just came out, and we're just waiting for support. Well, the problem is that support comes generally from small companies, right? Yeah, there are the big ones. There's your T-Rex Arms and your Galco and stuff like that. But then you've got your smaller holster makers that I prefer to support usually anyway. The only really big one that I support at this point is Tier 1 Concealed and Eclipse. I think they're both fantastic, and they're both bigger companies. And I'll buy a Vetter every now and then too. Vetter has never steered me wrong. Here's the problem. Daniel Defense did not create molds to send out to these companies so they can start making holsters while the gun was being released. They didn't send out any dummy guns. They didn't do anything to help these companies out. Now, there may be one, maybe somebody like A&R. A&R seems to have it pretty well nailed down with companies like HK. You look at the new HK CC9. Before it came out, the holsters were ready from A&R. Well, how the hell do you think that happened? Before the first gun got delivered, the holsters were ready? Yeah, that's because HK was smart enough to go, hey, we're putting out a brand new product that just, it isn't like anything else. So it's not going to fit in holsters for other guns. It's not going to fit in a Glock 26 holster, for example. So they were smart, and they made sure when they launched their new gun that there was at least a couple of holsters out there available. I have yet to find a holster for the H9. And this is not a brand new gun anymore. It's been out. The original run came out well over a year ago. I mean, come on now. So, I just made my own. And there you have it. So I've been carrying it in this, just a simple basic holster, nothing crazy, in the appendix position. I've got my little wing on there. I modify the wings on mine so that I can just slide it right in and it doesn't grab my pants and pull my pants below my belt while I'm trying to do all the other shit to put my holster in. So that's about the only different thing that I do for my holsters that I don't do for anybody else's holsters. If somebody asks me, sure, I'm happy to do it. And it was a son of a bitch to make for this. It was, I don't know, I think it was because the rail gave me a little bit of a hard time. But here's the thing. There are days I want to carry a 1911 or a 2011. And there are just some days that I have that want, but I wish they were a little bit slimmer. Or I don't want to deal with having an external safety. I want to have one of my striker fired guns, which if you're unfamiliar with the H9, it is essentially a gun that feels, in a little bit looks like a 1911 kind of design. When you put it in your hand, it feels like that, except it is way, way, way low in your hand. But you've got a striker inside, and it's on a trigger that pulls straight back like a 1911. Oh, yeah. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's very slim. It's very, very easy to carry. And it's really not that much bigger than most compact polymer striker guns that are popular. You know, the Glock 19, that size, CZ-P10C. This is just a tiny fraction longer, just a little tiny bit. And it's got the aluminum frame, so you've got a little more weight to it, but sometimes you like to feel that heft. Now, how does it carry? Honestly, it carries great. It sits well. Everything is pretty rounded off and comfortable. I'm not crazy about this, the unnecessary beaver tail. But again, they're going for that aesthetic so that it's almost like a 1911. I mean, but if you're going to do it, why not make it a beaver tail? Why not upsweep it? Instead, it can jam into the web of your hand. So I'm not crazy about how that feels when you're carrying it. Everything else is fine. I thought when I got this Viridian RFX 45 that it was the perfect look for this gun. And I'm beginning to second guess myself on this. I'm thinking I want something very small and discreet on this gun. As a matter of fact, I think this gun looks better naked. I think it looks better without an optic up top. There's just something about how sleek and how low profile it is that no matter what optic you got on there, it's kind of distracting. But my internal conflict is this is hands down the finest optic I have ever run. It is so beautifully crystal clear, intensely bright green dot. I mean, crazy bright. The first time I pulled this out and went to shoot it outside, I was surprised. It startled me. Okay, so these are going to be the first shots with the Viridian on the H9. We're going to see how it performs. All right, let's take... Holy shit, that's bright. With how bright that green dot was. So it's fantastic. So again, back to carryability. I don't have any external safeties that could be digging into me or that I have to remember to engage or disengage when I draw and reholster. So it's a very simple, basic gun that every time I grab it, and that's another reason I like carrying it, every time I grab it, it immediately falls directly into my grip. It is exactly every time I reach for this. And I have less time dry fire practice and less time drawing from retention practice with this gun than probably any other one. But every time I grab this, my hand is, there is no further adjustment necessary. My hand goes right where I want it to go. And upon my presentation, my dot is exactly where it needs to be. So I can't ask for anything more than that. I mean, I can, but it would be unreasonable. So taking out of the equation how much I enjoy shooting it, how wonderfully accurate and fast it is, and how fantastic this trigger is once it breaks in, and yet you really got to give it that chance. You have to let it break in. Because initially, again, it is clear, initially when you first get it, it's a heavy, well, first off, it's not very smooth. I'll tell you that right now, even now broken in. You feel it, and you feel this mechanical nature of pulling back that trigger bow. But then when you hit that wall, when you first get it, it felt like a 6-7 pound break. Not now. Oh. I really dig that. But that's all an aside. Because if you don't like carrying something, it doesn't matter how great the trigger is, doesn't matter how fast and accurate it is, because it's not going to be what's on you to save your life. This has carried wonderfully. I do wish the capacity was a little bit higher. You've only got 15 rounds. Still nothing to complain about. 15 rounds is still a good amount. But we all own handguns smaller than this that hold 17 to 20 round magazines. So yeah, it's kind of silly that this only holds 15. So the next thing I've got to do, going back to how it carries, is I've got to make a mag pouch for it, because I'm going to want to carry an additional magazine. If you're carrying in a good holster, it's not going to shift around on you. It's not going to move around on you. I use the DCC clips on this because I think that's the most secure retention on the waistline. I think they're great. The holster is not coming out when you draw. That's for damn sure. And over the time that I carried this, I can't say that I didn't want to carry something else. And that's usually an indication that maybe this isn't the greatest thing for me. If I'm carrying it and by Wednesday I'm going, I kind of wish I was carrying this other gun, or I wish I was carrying that gun today, that's usually kind of a red flag, because there's usually a reason for that. But there was no reason coming from this gun. What it was I was enjoying carrying it so much, and it is so strikingly similar to a 1911 or 2011 that I kind of wanted to carry one of my 2011s. So I was kind of waiting to get through the week, and it was only Wednesday. That's okay. But again, it wasn't because I didn't want to carry this one. It's because it made me want to carry other things because I like this so much. So it's treated me so good that all the way around, I think that I've finally decided that the H9 is a keeper. It has been reliable enough. It has been a pleasure to shoot, except for the issue that I had where it was cutting into me here. The last time I went out shooting, it didn't do that to me. So maybe there's something about it that's getting better somehow. I don't understand how, but sure. And now that I've carried it day after day after day after day after day, and it hasn't been a burden in any way to me, I think it's definitely a keeper. So I'm going to be sending this out definitely for some Cerakote work. I've got a cool idea that I want to do to it. And I'm trying to decide if I want to port it. That's the other thing that's great about this gun is it's got such a wonderful recoil system. And that barrel is so low in the hand that you don't need to port it. But sometimes a handgun that performs really, really, really well that gets ported makes it even better. The fact that this trigger guard is shaped the way that it is, that allows my hand to get so high up on this thing. The barrel is damn near in line with your forearm. So you're not getting a lot of this, you're getting more of this, less of this. So is porting really going to do it any good? I don't know. I just enjoy doing that. It carries easier than a Glock 19. It carries comparably to a Glock 48. Your overall dimensions are going to be where that goes. Is it going to take the place of your micro compacts? No, it's not. Because like I said, we all have guns that are smaller and thinner that carry more rounds. My P365 Spectre comp, I've got 17+1 and a handgun that's smaller in every possible dimension. It's shorter, it's not as lengthy, it's narrower, it's much lighter weight, being the polymer frame. And there are just some days you're lazy. You don't want to even go out of the house, but you're leaving the house and you want the most trouble-free experience. For me, it's my P365 XL Spectre Comp. Drop it in a holster like this. No big rig, no extra mag or anything. Just drop it in there and head out the door. It's almost like I'm not carrying anything. This is not that gun. It disappears and conceals very, very, very well. However, it's heavier. It's a bigger gun. So for many people, this is not going to be a good everyday gun. You've got to want to have this size and weight. Let me give you a quick comparison up against a Glock 19 size pistol.
Please like and subscribe.
All right, so we bring out my Shadow Systems MR920. This is the same size as a Glock 19, except I have added the Radian ramjet and afterburner. So let's see here. Your length is the same with the MR920 having the comp. The height is the same as long as you don't have an extendo base plate on your magazines. And the width is thinner. It's much, much slimmer. So it is easier to carry. It makes the Glock 19 size guns feel a little big and chunky especially, because this really feels even slimmer than it actually is. So if this is the most common size in your collection, you have a number of handguns that are this size, but you really do want to go a little bit thinner and a little bit easier to carry, and it's staying just about the same weight, then this is a good idea. So again, I think the only real problem most people are going to run into is the fact that there just aren't any damn holsters. And we're still not getting aftermarket support from Daniel Defense. We're still not getting additional side panel grips. I believe I saw one company online that's making some. They just weren't too terribly exciting. It wasn't Lock Grips. It was somebody else. I forget who it was. They weren't terribly exciting, but they weren't bad. Like they had one kind of a maroon color that was kind of nice. I thought those were kind of nice, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to Cerakote everything, and that'll include the grip panels too, and just call it a day. So that's where that's at. If you're looking for something that's roughly the same size as a Glock 19, but a little bit slimmer and a little bit different and a little bit closer to your 2011s that you love, this might be a really good way to go. That trigger is going to win you over. The accuracy is going to surprise you. And now that you know that it's not a pain in the butt to carry, it's not inconvenient or anything like that, I think it's a good way to spend your money. They are still overpriced, though. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, that's my week in the waistband look at the Daniel Defense H9. Hopefully this does you a little bit of good. If you're doing some comparison shopping and your most common size is a G19, well, now you know where you're at. And make a better aesthetic choice on your optic than I did. I love this optic so damn much, but it just doesn't look quite right on this particular gun. If you have any suggestions, throw them in the comments down below. The SRO, the shape of it would be nice, but it's still really, 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 really big. I'm thinking about maybe one of the new Gideon optics. They started making some really nice, smaller optics I thought were pretty attractive. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's our talk about the Daniel Defense H9. Thank you so much for joining me as always. Oh, by the way, in case this was distracting you at any point during the video, this is a knife that I'm going to be reviewing on my main channel. Certainly not a cheap knife. And what I'm probably going to do is make a shorter length video for this channel here for my A to Z EDC. That way everybody gets a chance to see this, because not a lot of people are going to have the opportunity to ever hold one of these. And that's a shame. So it's my job to come out here and show you cool shit like that. Anyway, thank you for joining me as always, and I'll see you on the next video.